All right, I'm live on the Facebooks and the YouTubes. All right. Hey, everybody, I'm hoping that you're doing well. Let me hit the record button here. This will be recorded, so if you have to bail, you don't, but if you did, that's fine. Hold on one second. Look at this. Hopefully you got, I don't know if you're seeing this and if it looks written backwards, because when I'm looking at my camera here, it looks like the text is all written backwards. So when I'm just asking and wondering here, if you look at this, can you read steps of an LO deal? Or does it say steps of an LO deal? Okay. Does it say steps to an LO deal or steps to an LO deal? Oh, so good. It's going in the right direction. Awesome. All right, good. It reads correct because I'm going to share this with you. And I'm going to hopefully, this is going to be a different webinar than I've ever done before, because I'm just going to be sharing from my heart, and I'm going to be sharing you and teaching with you a lot of things that are going to help you. My goal is to help you increase your cash flow and decrease your overwhelm. Okay. Decrease your cash. I'm sorry. Hold on. Increase. Did I say that right? I want to help you increase your cash flow, make more money, and decrease your overwhelm. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, say yes in the chat box. Increase your cash flow, decrease your overwhelm, because if you want to make a lot of money in this business, you need to keep it simple. Good. I'm getting the yeses here. That's awesome. I appreciate that, guys. And cash flow is where it's at. You're absolutely right, Edna. Thank you, Barb, Mike, and Wade, and Jaylene, and Emmeline. Good. This is live. This is about as live as you get. We're live in Zoom right here. We're live in the YouTubes and the Facebooks. So I'm glad you guys are here. And what I'm going to do is let me just say it this way too. The easiest way to make money in real estate is what? Does anybody know? Because I've said this over and over again. Somebody type it in the chat box. What's the easiest way to make money in real estate? Which I think is why we're all here, right? Lease options, lease options, lease option control, inherit the property, make offers. What else? Wholesale, assignment of contract, sandwich lease. No one's got it yet. Paula just got it. Paula just got it. The easiest way to make money in real estate is to do what's easy. That's it. That's the answer. And I love lease options because I think they're super easy. They're super easy to negotiate. They're easy because there's less competition. The market is shifting now. It's becoming harder and harder to find deals. Lots of wholesalers are out there doing a ton of marketing, spending thousands and thousands of dollars on direct mail, and are throwing away a ton of leads because there's not enough equity. There's a ton of rehabbers that are going out of business. They're on the verge of going out of a business if they aren't yet, because they are counting on a future appreciation, counting on that property selling in 3 months or 6 months, but it's taking 7, 8 months, 9 months, maybe, right? Their margins are thin. People are getting nervous. The market is starting to slow down. Now, every market is the same, but it doesn't. Let's say you're in one of those markets. That's good news, because now sellers are getting scared. The buyers are getting scared. This is the best time to make money as the market starts shifting and it starts going down. Now, you can make money in any real estate market, whether it's going up or down or sideways. And that's why I love lease options so much. But let's keep it simple. The kiss simple, like Terry Mulvey here is saying. The kiss simple is what? Keep it simple, stupid. Let's keep it simple. The easiest way to make money in real estate is to do what's easy. And some of you heard my story. The reason why I came up with this, how to do a lease option deal on one piece of paper, was because I was at an event. I was one of the scheduled speakers, and I was there to teach my lease options course and sell it. And the guy that was speaking before me was really, really good, right? I mean, he had an incredible course, but he was trying to impress us with the volume of material that he had. And so it was a complete, all-encompassing real estate investing course. And he said, if you buy my course now in the next 30 minutes, you're going to get this big manual here that teaches you how to find deals. It's got 20 DVDs, manuals 2 inches thick. Everything you want to know about how to find deals, it's here. But guess what? Once you find deals, you need to have the money to buy them. So I got this other course on how to raise all the private money you need. It's got 20 DVDs, 2 inches thick manual. But once you find the money, then you need to have the right contracts. And I've got all my contracts and forms here in this other thing, right in this big folder. Once you get the deal, though, you're going to have to know how to rehab it and manage contractors. So I have another course that teaches you how to manage rehabbers and rehab your properties for top dollar. Once you get these deals, you're going to need to protect your assets. You need entity structuring. So I got another course. It's a bonus if you get this now in the next 30 minutes. Get this other course. So you have this huge stack of courses, on how to do these deals. And it was awesome, amazing, like 500. And he was bragging about the number of hours in this videos and manuals and all. Like, it was amazing. The value was incredibly high. It was really, really awesome. But I was sitting in the back of the room completely overwhelmed. Like, oh my gosh. I thought having kids was hard, and it was not Ron LeGrand. But like, this is hard. This isn't like, I'd have to go through all of that stuff. I thought, man, I can't do it. I felt like really, really overwhelmed. I felt bad for this guy because, he wasn't selling that well. I mean, it wasn't really impressing everybody. So I was sitting in the back of the room. I'm speaking next, and I've got this little simple course on how to do a lease option deal. Actually, how to do a wholesaling lease option deal, just to flip a lease option assignment. And I thought, I wonder if I could write down on one piece of paper how to do a lease option deal from beginning to end. And I did. I sat in the back of the room, and this was about 7 or 8 years ago. And I wrote this thing out. Some of you guys are asking me who it was. I don't know. I honestly don't remember who it was. I kind of remember what he looked like, but I don't remember. And I wrote down on one piece of paper how to do a lease option deal from beginning to end. And that's what I'm going to share with you on this webinar today. I'm just going to walk through the steps. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you some cool things. And I want you to understand that there's power in simplicity. When you start complicating this business, and when you start taking what this guy says to do and what this lady says to do and what this guy says to do, I'm going to go buy that course and this system and that boot camp and that workshop, and I'm going to put it all together, and it's not Lou Brown. None of you guys are going to guess who it was. So you start chasing all these shiny objects, and you're going to lose more money than you make. There's a saying that focus will make you rich. Let me repeat that. Focus will make you rich. Shiny objects will make you go blind. Focus will make you rich. Shiny objects will make you blind. And I want to encourage you guys today to focus. Focus on one deal. If you want to increase your cash flow, decrease your overwhelm, you need to focus. And there's real power in focus. I'm doing this one deal case study that's coming up. And if you want more information about this, go to onedealcasestudy.com. I'm going to type this in the chat box. onedealcasestudy.com. Hopefully that works for everybody. I just typed it in the chat. onedealcasestudy.com. If you're watching this on YouTube and Facebook, would somebody please type that URL out and put it in the comments of the Facebook or the YouTubes? onedealcasestudy.com. Put that in there, because I'm doing this case study starting I'm starting about 8 or 9 days. But let me tell you why I'm doing this. I've created lots of courses before, and I just saw on my Facebook feed here that Tom Kroll actually gave me a thumbs up and liked my video on Facebook. What's up, Tom Kroll? How you doing, my man? Tom Kroll is one of the guys who helped me figure this out, because Tom Kroll is one of those guys who really is an excellent teacher. He's an excellent coach. And he's done a lot of deals, and he's a great coach. And he's always been harping on me, like, simplify it. Like, so when I'm creating a course, I've always done it where, like, I will, if there's 5 ways to do marketing, I'll teach all 5 ways, right? And then you can just pick your favorite one. There's like 5 different contracts you could use. So based on these different scenarios, right? So I teach all 5 different contracts. There's different ways different scripts that you can use with sellers, different ways that you can make offers, different offers that you can make. You can make a cash offer. You can make a sandwich lease option offer, a wholesaling lease option offer. What about owner financing or subject twos? All of this stuff, right? Talking about focus, and my camera keeps on going out of focus. Sorry about that. So I decided, this is good, but sometimes I get complaints from customers that like, Joe, your course is awesome, but I'm completely overwhelmed. I have no idea where to start. How many of you can relate to that? If I could please type in the chat box or in the comments on Facebook, YouTube, say, yes, I can relate to that, Joe. And be honest with me. I mean, this is something that I've had a problem with. Like, I want to over deliver on the value on my podcasts and my courses and my coaching. Like, good. I'm getting so many I can relate. So I really appreciate that, guys. Everybody's saying yes. No, not one person has said, I cannot relate. Thank you. RJ even said, Joe, I get confused with your teaching. Okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate the honesty. Well, like I was mentioning before with Tom Kroll, he does such a good job of like simplifying it and just says, okay, only do this. Forget about everything else. Don't listen to anybody else. Like, just do this. And after you do that, come back and do this, right? And then after you do that, then come here. So that's what I want to do in this one deal case study. Throughout the year, this year, throughout 2020, I'm going to be doing about 5 or 6 of these case studies. All right. And the first one's going to be on lease options. The next one might be on virtual wholesaling. The next one might be on land, vacant land flips. The next one might be on subject twos. The next one on owner financing. I want to do one on the BRRRR strategy of like buy and hold, the BRRRRRRR, whatever it is, buy, rehab, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. Okay. So like there's a lot of different things. And so sometimes, we complicate things too much. So what if we just did this? What if we created a way like, okay, you want to do lease option? I'm going to teach you how to do one deal, just one deal. Forget about doing 100 different ways to do a deal. Forget about doing 100 deals. Let's just look at one deal. How do you do just one lease option deal? All right. And so to do this, then every week for 6 weeks, I'm going to give you just one thing to do. Focus will make you rich. And if you choose to say, all right, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to increase my cash flow. I'm going to decrease my overwhelm. What, Joe, do I need to focus on? Well, we're going to do that in this case study. And so on day 1, the way I'm doing this is it's a 6-week program. And by the way, there's early bird pricing that ends on, it ends tonight. This case study is going to be $497. If you sign up today, it's $397. But let me explain to you how this is going to work, because it may not be for you, and that's fine. I am going to teach you this stuff here in just a minute, so bear with me. Don't go anywhere. This case study is going to work like this. On a Tuesday, I'm going to release a 30 to 45-minute video. Now, some of you are saying, Joe, I know you too well. You do not do 30-minute videos. Okay, but I'm going to. Like I've publicly announced it to the world now. I'm only going to do like every Tuesday morning in the group, I'm going to release a 30 to 45-minute video. It might be 46 minutes, but it'll be 45 minutes or less. And I'm going to say, all right, just do this one thing. Okay. Then there's going to be a private Facebook group where you do that one thing and you come back and report on your numbers. You report on your results in the Facebook group. And then on Thursday, we're going to come back for a live group coaching call. And we're going to answer all your questions and you're going to report on your results. It's like an accountability thing. I'm super excited about this. And then the other thing that, and yes, Edna, you can speed the videos up to 30 minutes. You can speed the videos up. But then what we're going to do on Thursdays, you bring me your leads and we'll call them live on the phone. We're actually going to call sellers live. And I'm going to have Gavin, who helps me in the coaching side of things. He's going to be on the call with me and we're going to call sellers live. So for example, there's 5 different ways to do marketing. I'm going to show you just one, my favorite way to do marketing. And you're going to have an assignment. All right, go do this one thing for the next week. Just go do it. Forget about anything else. Just go do it. And the next week is going to be, all right, here, instead of 3 different offers, just go make this one offer. Well, before that is the script. There's one script. It's a simple script, 5 or 6 questions. Okay. you're going to, when you talk to sellers, well, okay, the marketing, you do this one marketing, this one way, then use this one script. It's a simple script when you talk to sellers. When you talk to them, the next week's going to be about making one offer. We're not going to make multiple offers. We're just going to make one offer. Remember, we're not deal creators, we're deal finders. So if they don't want that one offer, that's fine. Move on, follow up with them, make the offer again later. We're focusing now, right? As you get more experience, then you can make multiple offers. But I see this over and over and over again with my students. They're getting tripped up because they're giving too many options to the sellers, or they feel like they have to give them a cash offer, sandwich lease option offer, an owner financing offer, or whatever. Let's stop doing that. Let's focus on just one offer. So we're going to focus on one offer. And then when we get it under contract, we have one contract that we're going to use, not a different contract for a wholesaling lease option, different contract for sandwich lease option, et cetera. It's going to be one contract. Then we have one checklist that we're going to do to sell the properties. Okay. Now you may not get a property under contract within this 6-week period, but you're going to learn all this stuff. So each of these weekly videos, they're going to be 30 to 45 minutes long. I'm releasing them on a Tuesday. You're going to do it, report back on your results into the private Facebook group, and I'll be there. Gavin will be there. We'll all be there connecting and helping with each other. Okay. And then on Thursday, we'll be answering your questions and calling sellers live. The cool thing about this too is, I forgot what I was going to say, but we're going to be calling sellers live on those Thursdays. Oh yeah. If you can't make the Thursday calls, then that's fine. You can submit your questions in advance. They'll be in the membership site. There'll be a place where you can submit questions in advance, and then we will answer the questions on the coaching call on Thursday. They'll be recorded so you can listen to the answers later. All right. Now, this is really, I'm excited about this. Let me share one more thing about this case study, and then I'll go into the teaching part of this, okay, of what is on this one page here. The thing that, in fact, hold on a second. I'm going to take a picture because I want to show you guys this page, and I'm going to take a picture of it right now, and then I'm going to show it on my screen so you guys can see it with me. Okay, let me email it to myself here real quickly like. All right, I'm going to tell you one more thing. Come on now. Joe McCall, pick large. Okay, good. I just emailed this to myself, a picture of it, so I can share it with you on my screen. If you want to be on this case study, go to onedealcasestudy.com. onedealcasestudy.com. I just put it in the chat box. The early bird pricing ends tonight. All right. Now it starts Tuesday the 21st. It starts Tuesday the 21st. So if you're watching this like after the early bird price, it's still available. We're closing the doors on Tuesday, January 21st, because that's when the first video is released. Okay. All right. One more thing I'm going to say to them about this. You're going to get your money back if you go through the case study and you implement it. You don't even have to do a deal. Or you don't even have to do a deal. You go through the case study, and I'm going to release 6 modules. You watch the modules, do the homework. I'm going to give you homework. Do this one thing. You report back on your results, and then participate in the weekly calls. I'm going to show you some simple systems and tools that you can use. And then at the end, you give me a video testimonial and show me proof that you did the stuff, you participated in the calls, you participated in the Facebook group, you reported on your numbers and all that. And I will refund your money. I'll refund all of your money for this thing. It's like a complete no-brainer. Why am I doing this? For a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm hoping some of you bring me some deals to partner with me on it. You might get, and I'm not promising you that I will partner on every deal you give me. I mean, like, it's got to be a good deal. But if you get a good lease option deal under contract, send it to my office, support@joemccall.com. And if it looks like a good deal, we'll get on the phone and I'll partner with you on the deal. All right. We'll split it 50-50. Now, I'm not going to do the work for you, but I'll get on the phone and coach you through the deal. And if it sells, we'll split it 50-50. All right. The other reason I'm doing this is I look at it like it's an investment in you, my most valuable asset, my customers. This is an investment in you. Because I know if you're happy, if you're satisfied, you're going to stick around. You're not going to go. You're not going to go to Rip Off Report and complain about me. You're not going to go to Facebooks or Bigger Pockets and go. But like you'll tell other people. You might buy something else that I sell in the future. You might become a coaching student someday. I don't know. But if you're happy, then I'm happy. I don't know anybody else doing this in the industry. Some people like will give you your money back if you do a deal and give them a testimony. All I'm saying is go through the course and implement it. Send me a video testimonial at the end. Just set it up and I will give you your money back. Is that fair? I think that's real fair. I think it's super fair. All right. Thank you. Do you guys think that's fair? Type it in the comments. Type it in the chat. I keep on pointing over here because that's where my chat box is. Yours may be different. Do you think that's fair? Let me know. Good. All right. So this isn't some gimmick. Like this is real legit. I'm not just saying this because this is like, I want you to succeed. Why do I spend so much time doing the podcasts and writing the books? Oops. Is that right? Because I know these books will help you. I know they will help you. I remember looking at those bookshelves behind me here. I have a ton of real estate books and they helped me tremendously. So I want you to succeed. And I know what's going to help you the most is if you learn how to focus. Focus will make you rich. Shiny objects will make you blind. So let's do one thing at a time. If you have any interest in lease option deals, let's just look at one thing. Let's do that one thing, implement it, go to the next one thing. Implement that, go to the next one thing. Implement that, go to the next one thing. So that's why I want to help you with this. All right, good. OneDealCaseStudy.com. Somebody said here, when I type that in, it brings up other courses. It shouldn't. Let me show you what it looks like here. Let me show you what it looks like here. I'm going to share my screen, hopefully the right one. All right, you see this? If you go to OneDealCaseStudy.com, it looks like this. Discover the fastest and easiest way to do one lease option deal by completely simplifying everything and focusing only on the easiest methods and strategies. All right, this early bird pricing ends today at midnight tonight. So read this thing, and it's pretty cool. I talk a little bit about what's involved, and we're going to call sellers live. You're going to get your money back. You can partner with me on a deal if you bring me a good deal. And you get your money back with the completion challenge setup. And it starts January 21st, Tuesday, January 21st. All right, good. So you guys see that? How do I stop my share? Boom. Okay. Good. Hold on one second. You guys make sure you're still with me here. All right. I think you are. I'm just a little worried that the technology isn't going well. All right. So now I'm going to open up All right. We're good. I'm going to open up this picture, download it of the one page thing, and let's start talking about it. There we go. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to bring it up here. And I'm going to share it with you guys now. Share image. Do you guys see this image? And you guys still see my face? Please type in the box so you can see this one page and you can see my face. And you can hear me okay. Good. All right. Good. Some of you say yes. You get okay. Awesome. This is working. Yes. Okay. So these are the steps to doing a lease option deal. One lease option deal. Number one, it's real easy. Find a motivated seller. Why motivated? Okay. There's got to be somewhat motivated, right? And let's look at the bottom line. The fact of the matter is every seller wants full price for their house. They want all cash. They want to close in 7 days. So yeah, if you offered a seller full price cash offer, Randy, okay, thanks for that. If you make an offer to a seller full price cash, 7 days, no contingencies. Yeah, what seller would say no to that? We're looking for motivated sellers. We're looking for sellers that, have a problem, have a situation, something's going on where they want to sell. But let me explain this too, because this is important to understand. Sellers are really, really good at hiding their motivation. They're great liars. Sellers are great liars. We need to learn how to, I don't want to say not trust the seller, but like understand that they're not going to come right out on the first phone call and say, yes, thank you so much for calling. I'm desperate. I got to sell this property today or my wife's going to leave me and my kids are going to whatever. Like, no, the sellers don't do that. They're good at hiding their motivation. So when you're talking to sellers on that first phone call, realize this: 95% of them are going to say no. They're not going to express any interest in wanting to do a lease option. This is a huge numbers game. 90% of your deals are going to come from the follow-up. And every investor that I've talked to and interviewed on my podcast, in our own deals that we're doing even right now, on average, it's 2 to 3 months of follow-up before we do a deal. It's an average of 5 to 6 touches before we do a deal. So the faster you can get to those 5 or 6 touches, the more follow-up you can do, the more you'll find those motivated sellers that you thought said we're not interested at all. All of a sudden, 2 or 3 months later, they're like, you know what? Is your offer still good? All right. So again, this goes back to, we're not deal creators, we're deal finders. When we're doing this marketing, we're doing as much marketing as we can because we're looking for the motivated sellers. So don't get discouraged if the sellers are not motivated, right? They will become motivated. No means not yet, especially the sellers that we are targeting, okay? We're targeting a lot of properties on Zillow and Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, mainly Zillow. But these are sellers, these houses are in nice shape. They've just been fixed up, but they're all vacant. And guess what? That seller, that landlord will put a tenant in that property and think, I'm fine. 3 months later, that tenant is late again, just like the previous tenant. Their tenant is calling every 30 days with something new to fix, something new to complain about. And so you're just like, that landlord eventually just starts pulling out their hair like this, as like, I'm so sick of this property. All of a sudden they become motivated. And because you've been following up with them, they're like, yeah, you know what? Who is that guy or lady that keeps on bothering me and texting me and emailing me and leaving me voicemails and sending me letters in the mail? Who is that? And they're going to be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to call that guy. And here's the thing. Your competition's not doing this. Your competition is not making an offer to every seller and they're not following up. So we got to look for motivated sellers. I don't care about the house. I just care about their story, their situation. Okay. Look for motivated sellers and always make offers to every seller you make. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's okay. And follow up with every lead. All right. So where do you find motivated sellers? Well, they're everywhere. My favorite pool of motivated sellers, though, are absentee owners or landlords. Of all the different pools of homeowners, there's owner occupants, there's absentee owners, and then underneath them, there's like pre-foreclosures and high equity and low equity. But of all the groups of sellers, absentee owners have always been the ones that are most likely to be motivated and want to sell their property. That the realtor that swore that they could sell their property easily, a property manager who says, yeah, we'll find a tenant in 30 days or less, easy. And now it's been 3 months, and then they have the lost rent. They have the mortgage payment they've been paying. They have the $3,000, $4,000 they put in to fix the property up. Then they have to pay that property management company another month fee, a fee of 1 month's rent when they do finally find the tenant buyer. So that seller may not be motivated now, but give them some time to cook. And they're like, oh man, I am motivated now. So that's where most of your deals are going to come from. Like all of your deals are going to come from motivated sellers. And if a seller's not motivated, if they're like asking you way too many questions about a lease option, if they're trying to get you to sell them on the lease option, you're wasting your time. So you shouldn't be on the phone longer than 3 to 5 minutes with the seller to determine if there is any motivation. Okay. So you're talking to the seller and they say like, well, how many deals have you done before? Or what kind of references can you send me? What's your experience? I want to see your credit report. I'll do a lease option, but you have to pay me $5,000, $10,000 option deposit. What's the motivation on that seller? Zero. Of all the lease option deals I've done, I've never had one seller look at my credit report, do a background check on me, call previous references and other people that I've done this with, talk to my business associates or whatever. None of that. Why? Because they were motivated. So no means not yet. Just remember that. Keep that in your mind. You can only do lease option deals with motivated sellers. Now, they don't have to be super motivated. One of the reasons why I really started liking lease options so much when I quit my job in 2009 doing lease options full time was the level of motivation didn't have to be as high on a wholesale deal. When you're talking to a seller on a wholesale deal that's got a lot of equity and you're trying to beat them down to 60, 70 cents on the dollar, and they agree to that, that's like bottom of the barrel as you can get. That's just the way it is. And so I got frustrated. There's very few sellers that have a lot of motivation and a lot of equity, and tons of wholesalers going after those little few poor sellers. But there's tons of sellers that don't have very much equity that are motivated, very few investors going after them, very little competition for those deals. So we're looking for motivation. They don't have to have as much motivation as a seller willing to give you all of their equity and sell their house for 50, 60 cents on the dollar. But they do have to have some level of motivation. So if you find yourself on the phone and you find yourself in sales presentation mode where you're pitching the idea of a lease option and you're trying to convince them to do it, you're wasting your time. You're talking to the wrong seller. You should only be spending your time with motivated sellers. So that's number one. Numero uno is you need to find motivated sellers. So now where do you find them? There's a lot of good motivated sellers out there, a lot of places to go look. I'm just going to tell you my favorite is Zillow. Zillow is my favorite. A lot of you guys have heard of my Z Code course. I love Zillow for a lot of reasons. Number one, almost all of the houses you look at on Zillow, they have one thing in common. What are they? They're vacant. And what else? They're owned by absentee investors, absentee landlords. See, an absentee landlord is not as attached emotionally to their houses like they maybe were at one time, but it's not like you're talking to an owner occupant who's lived in that house for 20 years and they raised their kids in it and they have a lot of emotional attachment to it, right? It's not like that where the retail owner occupant is like thinks their house is worth way more than it really is. An absentee landlord, if they were honest, they think like their property, they're sick of it. I just want to get rid of it. I'm sick of tenants. I'm sick of property managers, blah, blah. They're just like frustrated. You very rarely get that with a homeowner occupant. Does that make sense? So I love Zillow because there's tons of landlords there. And there's a lot of for sale by owners there. Okay. So I like Zillow. Let me show you. Can I just share my screen with you guys? Why don't I share with you? Let me go here, stop share. And I'm going to do a new share here. I'm going to go to Zillow. All right. So you guys, can you see Zillow? Type in yes. I can see Zillow. Or you can say C if you're Spanish or Hispanic, like Edna. All right, good. Somebody type in a city, and I'm going to just look it up in Zillow. First one to type in a city. Atlanta. Atlanta, Georgia. All right. Atlanta is a huge market. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to do this a little differently. Somebody give me a small city. Like, give me a city around 100,000 people. Denton, Texas. Let's look at, I don't know where Denton, Texas is. I think it's in Texas. Am I right? Or am I right? Denton, Texas. All right. Where is Denton, Texas? Oh, it's a suburb of Dallas. All right. So that's northern Texas, isn't it? Let me just zoom out here a little bit. I want something even further out than that. How about Wichita Falls? Where's Wichita Falls? Wichita Falls, Texas. It's in Texas. All right. Here's the point I'm trying to make here. Let's say you live in Wichita Falls, Texas. There's probably some college there. All right. Let's say you live in Wichita Falls, Texas, and you're like, Joe, I want to do lease options. How do I get started? And you go in and you look at Zillow and you see, Joe, there's only 34 properties listed for rent in the median price range of 1,000 to 3,000, 3+ bedrooms, houses only. All right, so maybe I look at 2+ bedrooms. There's 37 properties. Well, all right, then let's look at for sale by owners. How many for sale by owners are there? Let me remove the price restrictions here. There's 12 whopping FSBOs. All right, so there's 12, there's like 40 total, right? Like, Joe, there's not enough deals where I live. Or you may be in a bigger city, bigger than Wichita Falls, of like 250,000, or let's say you're in Omaha, Nebraska. Let's go to Omaha. I almost took a job in Omaha, Nebraska when I graduated college 2000. Omaha's a big city. Let's remove the boundary here. How many FSBOs are there? It's 103. Oh, Joe, I'm running out of leads. Who do I contact? Okay, zoom out a little bit. 149. Okay. Those are just FSBOs, right? Well, what about for rents? And let's do 3+ bedrooms, because why 3+? It's just 3+ bedrooms. Houses are easier to sell. Look at that, 293 in the Omaha, Nebraska area. Now, you may be living there thinking, oh, that's awesome. But like in 1 week, I've already contacted all of them. I can't find any more. What do I do? Look at, there's a plus and minus button down here. I can't really zoom in, but there's a plus and minus button down here. Do you see that? Click the minus button. Guess what happens? All of a sudden, wait, this isn't working. It's not working. Oh, maybe it was. Okay, all right, never mind. Look, now there's, sorry, hold on. There's 402. Let me zoom out again. 687. Oh, let me zoom out again. 5,200 rental properties now. And I'm looking at Nebraska, South Dakota, South Dakota, Southern Minnesota, Iowa, and Missouri and Kansas. 5,200 rental properties, 3+ bedrooms. All right, well, let's look at for sale by owners. How many for sale by owners are there? 2,955. So that's 3,000. There's like 8,000 rentals and for sale by owners. Let's do this. Let's look at both of them. 3+ bedroom houses, 8,200. Let me zoom out one more time. 43,500. I don't know how many there are in the whole state. But guys, listen. Zillow is the biggest marketplace right now for rentals and for sale by owners. All right. If you're running out of leads in Wichita Falls, Texas, you have the entire United States in your backyard. Let's say you're in San Francisco. You want to see something crazy here? Let me just go to Zillow homepage here. And the wonderful city of San Francisco, where there's no homeless people and the streets are clean. How many, let's do 2+ bedrooms, and let's be fair to them. Let's do townhomes and condos. And let's look at FSBOs. How many FSBOs do you... All right, there are 4 for sale by owners in the city of San Francisco. Well, okay, let's remove the boundary. There's 7. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit then. 19. Well, let's zoom out again some more. Ooh, 39. Let's zoom out one more time. I'm up into Sacramento now, and Modesto, whatever that is down there. There is 100. I mean, Northern California is huge, right? There's only 154 for sale by owners. What if we do like max price? Let's make sure we're not dealing with huge mansions. There's 118 that are under $1 million. You're like, Joe, I live in Vallejo Bay Area, California. I used to live in San Francisco. It's a beautiful area. I love it out there. like, I can't do deals here. Zillow doesn't work here. Oh, really? Are you sure about that? Let's just go here to houses. Because I just like houses. They're easier. 3+ bedroom houses. And let's zoom out again. Oh, 250. Let's zoom out again. 500. Now it's almost the entire state of California. Let's zoom out again. Let's move the thing over a little bit. Now I got Oregon. I don't even have Washington yet. 3,100 for sale by owners, up to $1 million. Let's look at just the for rents. 20,000. See, here's the thing, guys. Even if you live in San Francisco, you've got the entire United States in your backyard. What if you live in Vancouver, Canada, Prague, Czech Republic? Guess who? I don't know. Anyone around here? Have you ever done a lease option deal from Prague, the country, Czech Republic? Anyone? I have, right? Like, you from anywhere in the world, you could go into any. So here's the thing. If you live in a big, expensive, huge populated market, if you live in a little town, Texas, you can do deals. I would recommend starting in your own backyard, but then branching, going out from there. Keep on clicking this minus sign until you get out. Now you may look at this and think, all right, well, let's do this. I'm going to start with Sacramento and San Francisco and the Northern California area. And you're probably going to run out of leads in like a few minutes. Well, then how about Reno? How about Vegas? How about Salt Lake City, Utah? Phoenix, Tucson, Portland, Oregon, Boise, Idaho, Billings, Montana. So like you could pick 5-6 cities and just rotate through them. Listen, guys, listen carefully here. There is more than enough leads on Zillow for you. And there's more for anybody here that's going to be taking action with this one deal case study. There's more than enough leads for you, no matter where you live. Let me just say this too. Every student that I've had that's been successful with finding leads from Zillow and Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, if they just go out and pick at least 3 different markets, they have more than enough leads than they can handle. Do you believe me if I could tell you that? That's the honest truth. And I've done this. I couldn't handle personally more than 2 cities. So if you can pick 2 or 3 different markets and just rotate in the rentals and the for sale by owners, single family houses, 3+ bedrooms, right? You're going to have more leads than you could handle. On average, what I like to do is I like to send out text messages, and I don't have time to show you how we do that in REI Simple, my CRM, but it's really powerful. We send out SMS broadcasts, and we send to the properties that are listed with property managers. Like, let's look at this house in Las Vegas, for example. It's listed by Wynn Realty Group, and there's no phone number. Joe, Zillow doesn't work. Well, here's the cool thing, though. It does work because I can get, if I have the address of the property, I can pull up the owner's address, and I can send the owner a letter. All right. So anyway, pick 3 different markets and start sending text messages and Zillow and REI Simple. Start sending text messages and letters. All right. Let me, yeah, that's right, Stan. I think you're talking about list source. So there's different ways to do marketing, different lead sources, right? Sometimes you can go into a few zip codes and get thousands and thousands of records from list source, but we're talking about Zillow now. But if you look at these properties, again, what do they have in common? They're vacant, they're clean, they don't need any work, they're rent ready. And guess what? This seller might not be motivated right now to sell this house. They might have just bought it 6-8 months ago, right? And you know what? They have a property manager. I can't send them a letter, but I can't send them a text, but I can find out who the owner of this property is, and I can send them a letter. They may not want to sell it now, but I guarantee you, maybe a year, 2 or 3 years from now, they will want to sell it. And because I've been following up with them, they're like, I'm sick of rentals. But they just bought it. They don't want to lose money. So they're more open to maybe doing a lease option. Here's a property in Parker, Colorado, $3,200. Now, look at this property. Can you see the pictures? They're really nice. Do you think a seller is going to take, I don't know what this property is worth. It's probably worth like $600,000, $700,000. It's on a golf course. It's got some nice private backyard, maybe. Do you think a seller is going to take an offer at 60, 70 cents on the dollar for this property? No. But do you think they might do a lease option at 90 cents on the dollar? And now this may be an investment property. I don't know, but chances are properties in this price range, investors aren't buying these things for cash flow purposes. They're buying these, they bought it to live in, and they decided they don't want to live there anymore. They had to move and they couldn't sell it. So they just decided to rent it out. That happens a lot of times. Another huge reasons why, one of the big reasons why I love Zillow as well, is a lot of these rental properties are not showing up yet as absentee owners in the county records. Let's look this property up real quick in PropStream. PropStreamJoe.com is a really, really cool tool that I use a lot. It's an affiliate link, PropStreamJoe.com. But you get property data, and you can get a lot of the same property data out of REI Simple as well. PropStreamJoe.com. Let me type this address in here in case you're interested. PropStreamJoe.com. I just put it in the chat box. So this property here, well, this owner has owned it 1 year and 7 months. And they live in Chicago, Illinois. So I don't know what the story of this is. Maybe they did buy it as an investment property. They paid cash for it. So maybe it's a hedge fund or something like that. I don't know. This is rare. But here's the cool thing. I pull this property up on Zillow, and it's listed by, maybe that's a property manager or something. And this phone number may not go through, the text may not go through, but I can quickly, just with a few clicks, send the owner in, that's in Colorado, send the owner in Chicago, Illinois, a letter saying, hey, you wouldn't have any interest in selling this property on Quail Run Way, would you? So a lot of, it depends on the market, but I have found in areas where I've done this, sometimes 10 to 25%, 20% of the properties you find on Zillow listed for rent are not showing up yet as absentee owners in the county records. So they are not getting a bunch of direct mail from other investors. And these are nicer homes that I'm targeting, right? These nicer homes, they're not the kind of properties that a lot of investors are sending marketing to. The investors are sending marketing to the lower end, cheaper properties. So anyway, I love me some Zillow. Let me go back here to this. You see this paper here, right? See if I can make it a little bigger and just kind of zoom in a little bit. All right. So when I go and look for properties on Zillow and Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, sometimes I just send them the first text is, hey, I saw your property. You wouldn't be interested in maybe leasing it for a year and then selling it, would you? And just right then and there. Sometimes though, I'll take another approach especially if I have a VA doing this. I might send a text that says, hey, this house on 123 Main Street, is it still available? Is it is? Good. Are you the owner? See what they say. They say yes. Then you can say, well, would you be open to maybe leasing it for a year or two first and then maybe selling it? To phrase that different ways. If they say, no, I'm the property manager, you could change it around and say, well, would your client maybe have any interest in selling their property? You can represent me if I buy it, and you can get both sides of the commission. Or you could just say at that point, you could have your VA click a button and then send a letter. There's a way to do this in REI Simple. If it's a rental property, you got the address in there, you click a button, it finds the owner of the property, their name and address, and you click another button, you can create a letter. Click another button and you can send it to so you can send that letter in the physical mail to the seller within 1 or 2 days. It'll print it and send it first class, and it only costs 85 cents per letter. So we're finding, and I can't guarantee results or numbers, but we're getting anywhere from 5 to 10% response rates on those letters. Sending the letters to the homeowners of the properties that are listed for rent in Zillow that are listed by property managers and stuff. So you can try it different ways, like just send them a straight up text. Hey, I saw your property. It looks nice. You wouldn't be open to maybe leasing it for a year and then selling it, would you? Okay. Or say, is the house still available? Are you the owner? Would you be open to leasing it? Then what do? Next step is talk to sellers. By the way, as you start doing this, you need to have a good CRM that kind of helps you manage all the leads and stuff like that. By the way, before I go on to talking to sellers, because don't worry about the speed and the progress of this webinar, because I spent a lot of time in the finding motivated sellers part, getting ahead of myself in the other steps. But any questions about what I've just said so far? Let me go to the chat here. If I can find it, there it is. Is there a problem if you go around the property manager? No. You may have a problem if you're licensed, but if there is a property manager involved, I'll never try to get the seller to cancel their listing agreement. I'll tell the seller, listen, if it's listed, I'll go ahead and send an offer through your agent if you want, or you take my offer, give it to your agent, is what I'll say. Do some owners put it for sale by owner for rent at the same time? Is that allowed? Yes, a lot of them do. There's a house literally just a mile down the street from where I live right now that's listed for sale and for rent. Oh, so you're concerned. Some of you guys are concerned about money for marketing, right? How much does it cost to go to Zillow.com and find a phone number and send a text? You can do it from your phone. You can do it from your phone. You could use Vumber, you could use CallRail, REI Simple. You get phone numbers inside of REI Simple, and you can send text from there. Now, mailers, yes, mailers do cost a little bit of money, but here's the cool thing. Just that skip tracing, by the way, doesn't cost anything inside of REI Simple. Or you can go to county records. You don't have to use PropStream. Go to county records, find the properties that are on Zillow listed for rent, that are listed with a property manager, or maybe don't have a phone number, and just send a letter to the owner. And I'm using click to mail through that, and it's only 85 cents. And the way I do the letter, here's one. I actually have one right here. Check this out. Let me, I can never find, there it is. Okay, check this out. See this letter right here? Does that look like maybe you would open this? If you got this in the mail, would you open this? This costs 85 cents to send. With 3 or 4 clicks of the button, we've got this integration in REI Simple where it pulls up the owner's name and address, and it sends them a letter. Now, what it does is it does a cover letter like this, but I do it in yellow paper because it looks like, you've all gotten those late notices on your bills. And it sends a simple letter like this. Dear American Goldfinch Preservation Trust. I saw your house on Zillow. I'm an investor looking for more properties in the area. You wouldn't be interested in selling it, would you? Please give me a call. Phone number. So this thing right here, click, click, click. It sends the letter first class mail. Now, the thing I love about this is you can pick different color paper you want, right? So like you can pick blue but I like yellow because you see that? My camera's out of focus. It looks like a urgent late notice. You can even change in the from, like who it's coming from. I've done this before where my company's name was urgent notice. So you could change that up. Anyway, these work they work really, really well. Cool. Barbara, good question. You need to find your own escrow company. You can't use him anymore. He's actually running for mayor in his town. Skip tracing, there's certain kinds of skip tracing in REI Simple. The skip tracing where you just find the owner's name and mailing address, that is free. The skip tracing where you get the phone numbers and the emails, that does cost a little bit of money. Okay, good. You guys are asking good questions, and I will get to those as we go along here in the webinar. I just want to finish this page here. You find the motivated seller, you send a text or a letter to the homeowners on Zillow, rentals and for sale by owners. Next, you got to talk to them. And this is really, really simple. All I do is ask questions. I pull away. I'm the reluctant buyer. I want to gather some info and tell them, listen, I'll send you another offer. I'll send you an offer. I don't spend more than 3 to 5 minutes on the phone with the seller. Let me give you a little shortcut here. Um, my friends are texting me. uh, I just ask simple questions. Here's a little trick. When you're talking to a seller on the phone, you should pretend in your mind mentally that you are getting ready to walk into a meeting and you've only got a few minutes. I see too many people get stuck with spending way too much time on the phone with sellers. You should only spend on the phone longer than 3 to 5 minutes if they're ready to do a deal today. But you need to think about, okay, listen, I'm getting ready to walk into a meeting. I only have a couple minutes. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about your house? And then just start asking them about the house. Listen, is it a nice house, a good area? Sounds like a nice house. Why would you even want to sell it? Ask them questions about the school district. What kind of shape is it in? When is the last time the kitchen was updated? You know how old the roof is or whatever, right? So just be asking them questions about the house. You need to be the reluctant buyer. Write that down. You need to be the reluctant buyer. You need to get them to sell you on their house. Why should you want to buy their property? You should never, ever sell them on what a lease option is or why they should do a lease option and all of that. Once you start trying to convince them to do a lease option, you're talking to the wrong seller. So you're just gathering information. They need to sell you on their house. You're not trying to sell them on a lease option. Get some information together and then send them an offer. And that's really, really simple. We use a system called, I like to call it a lease option credibility kit. So I'm not selling them on a lease option. I let my proposals sell them on a lease option. So it's a cover letter. It's just a one-page offer. It's like a letter of intent. Then the next page explains what a lease option is, explains the benefits. And then there's 3 pages of frequently asked questions. Now, again, inside of REI Simple, you can create this with a couple clicks, or you can just you have my document, put it in Word, and then you can just change the text up a little bit and send it to the seller. But the final page I like to put into this into this credibility kit thing and proposal is references. Now, you may say, I don't have any references. I've never done a lease option deal before. Yeah, you do. You know a mortgage broker, a property manager, a realtor, other investors, maybe the president or somebody involved with your local real estate club, the treasurer, somebody at a title company that you've done business with before. Did I say mortgage broker, a banker, a private lender, a hard money lender, anybody that you know in the real estate business, realtor, you know what I'm saying? You can use them as a reference. It doesn't have to be a seller that you did a deal with before. So anyway, I let the credibility kit and the proposal do the selling for me. And I email it to the seller and I mail it to the seller in the physical mail. Now, REI Simple, again, can do that. It can send the proposals to the sellers in the physical mail. A proposal like that, it's about 7 or 8 pages long. It costs anywhere from like $1.50 to $1.80 to send that. So here's the thing. I send an offer to every seller that I talk to. Now, depending on their motivation, if they're really angry, I might not send them something in the mail, but I send an offer to every single seller I talk to. All right. That's so important. And then you got to follow up with them every 30 days or more, but you've got to follow up with all of your leads. The more no's you get, the closer you are to a yes. Does that make sense? Okay. Somebody's asking me REI Simple. REI Simple. Now, when it comes to making offers, I have a real simple offer calculator. You can just type in the numbers from Zillow, and maybe to get an ARV, just average like ePraisal, Realtor.com, Redfin, Zillow, just those estimators that they give you the values. Just average those to get the ARV. All right. So I'm going to send them an offer. I'll make the offer verbal on the phone, maybe. Otherwise, I'll just say, let me get some questions. I'll send you an offer and you can look it over. If you want to do a lease option, great. I'm never begging them. I'm never chasing them, right? I'm the reluctant buyer. You never want to chase a seller. The harder you chase them, the faster they'll run. You want to pull them to you, not or let them come to you. Does that make sense? You don't want to chase them. Now, when it comes to a contract, I have one simple contract I use. Now, I used to use a one-page contract. I still use that. But when I want to encourage you guys to focus on sandwich lease option deals because they're bigger profit deals. You get cash now, cash flow, and cash later. So I have a simple one contract that combines the lease and the option together. And this is the contract that got me started in the business years and years ago. It's super powerful. But anyway, that once the seller gets your offer, you followed up with them and they say, yeah, let's do this. You send them a contract. Now, the cool thing about lease options is you can negotiate price or terms. And there's about 3 or 4 things you can negotiate in a lease option deal. What can you negotiate? You can negotiate the price, the option price of the home. You can negotiate the rent. You can negotiate the term, like how many years, 3, 4, 5 years. You can negotiate the down payment, option deposit money you're putting down. You can even negotiate rent credits. So if the seller's stuck on their price, they have to have $200,000. You can say, well, I don't know if this will work for me or not. And it's okay if you say no, but what if I could get you $200,000? Would you be willing to do a lease option today? And see what they say. So if they say, yeah, I'd be willing to do it. Okay, well, I won't be able to get you this $1,500 a month in rent. I can probably get you like $1,100 a month in rent. Now that wouldn't work for you, would it? Again, I'm pulling back. I'm the reluctant buyer. They need to come to me. Say, yeah, I can't do $1,200 a month in rent. I can do $1,400 a month in rent. Well, what if I could get you whatever I said before, $200,000 and $1,400 a month in rent? You couldn't give me like maybe a $200 a month rent credit. So if I pay the rent on time, you'll take $200 off the price. That probably wouldn't work for you, would it? So I can negotiate different things. If they're adamant on 3 years, it's got to be 2 or 3 years. Well, you can say, well, what if I could give you 3 years? Would you be willing to do a lease option today? I say, yeah. So then you can negotiate a lower price or a lower rent. See, when you're just doing wholesaling, the only thing you negotiate is the price. That's it. But with lease options, you have a lot more options. You can get the seller any price they want as long as they're willing to wait for it. I can give them the price they want if they give me the terms I want. If terms are more important to them, I can get them the terms they want if they give me the price I want. Does that make sense? So the other cool thing I like about the way I do lease options, and I think this is really, really important, I am not tying up the property. I don't tie up the property. Now, if it's a smoking hot deal, I will tie it up. In other words, like I will start paying you rent on this date, whether I find a tenant buyer for the house or not. But most of the time, I say, listen, here's an option agreement. Until I find a tenant buyer to live in the house, you can continue advertising it. If you rent it or sell it before I do, that's fine. Just cancel my agreement and you won't owe me anything. So this removes all of the risk from your situation because you're not tying up the property. If you can't find a good tenant buyer on that property by a certain time, that's okay because the seller has not taken it off the market. You can always go back to the seller then, renegotiate a lower price or just cancel the contract altogether. So, I prefer not to tie up the property unless it's a smoking hot deal because I might not be able to find a tenant buyer for it. It might be overpriced. It might be in a bad area. I'm not going to these houses in advance to look at them. So yeah. Then once I get a property under contract, I advertise that contract or the property. So if I'm staying in the middle, I'm subleasing it out. I'm the tenant buyer who's staying in the middle and the seller has given me written authorization to sublease the property to somebody else. So I can turn around and advertise it for a tenant buyer. There's a few things. I have one checklist, and this is what we will review in the One Deal case study. And what's the website again for that? onedealcasestudy.com. There's one checklist that I have, and that's really important that let nothing fall through the cracks there. Okay. And there it shows you like the things that you got to remember. One of my favorite ways to find tenant buyers is with signs. Signs work really, really well. Put a sign in the yard, bandit signs in the neighborhood on the weekends. Okay. Every time I've done that, I've always been blown away by how many potential tenant buyers I get. The next favorite is Facebook Marketplace. That works really well. Try to get it on Craigslist and Zillow if you can. On Craigslist, what I like to do is I'll do 2 rental listings and 1 for sale by owner listing and just kind of rotate through them. You want to make sure each one is different pictures, different titles, things like that. Okay. Now this is important too. When you're using REI Simple, you can get a local phone number for each property. And the cool thing about that is when when a buyer calls on that property, your outgoing voicemail can explain what the property is. And then the system will add them to your tenant buyers list. They'll add them to your buyers list. And then you can send them a text back answering any questions they have, maybe sending them a link to view the pictures, etc. So this is a great way to build your tenant buyers list inside of the CRM by having a different phone number for each property. And you can rotate the numbers and things like that. All right. So once you find somebody who likes the property, then you get an application. And I have a simple application. I have one company that I use that pre-screens all of my tenant buyers nationwide, and they will help you find a good mortgage broker and help you find somebody that will fix their credit. So there's a few things you need to ask and look at when you're pre-screening your tenant buyers. Number one, can they afford the house? I don't know why the words are fuzzy. That's better. Okay. Number one, can they afford the house? Number two, do they have a realistic chance of getting a mortgage in 1 or 2 years? Number three, do they have at least 3 to 5% to put down? And number four, do they have a clean background? You want to make sure they don't have evictions, they no criminal history. You want to make sure they don't have a recent history of unpaid phone bills, and cable bills. So you just want to make sure, do they have a realistic chance of getting a mortgage in 1 or 2 years? That's super important because you don't want to, you always set up people to succeed. I know some other speakers that teach lease options, and it's horrible because they say, listen, they say this, I hope they don't buy the house because then I get somebody else in there and I make another 5-10 grand up front. No, I hate that philosophy. You want somebody in there that will buy that house. You don't want to put somebody in there with a very little chance. So when you're working with a good local mortgage broker, you want to make sure they have a realistic chance of being able to get a mortgage on that house in 1 or 2 years. So can they afford the house? Can they have 3 to 5% to put down? Do they have a good eviction, clean background check history, right? That's super important. Then there's some more paperwork. Now, I have one contract with the seller. When I find the tenant buyer, I'll do a separate lease and a separate option agreement. And then I have, there's little things like lead-based paint, a seller's disclosure statement. Those are important documents. Then you profit. Cash now, cash flow, cash later. So in a sandwich lease option deal, you make cash now, and that's the money you get from the tenant buyer. That goes into Hip Pocket National Bank. And I recommend you save at least half of that for unforeseen things in the future. But that's cash now. You get cash flow. That's a difference between what you're paying the seller in rent and what you're collecting in rent from the tenant buyer. So that should be $300 or $400 a month. And then the cash later is the difference between what you're buying it from the seller for and what you're selling it to the tenant buyer for. So that should be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. All right. So you guys are asking some really good questions. I'm going to get to your questions here in just a minute. I want to show you guys again, if you go to this onedealcasestudy.com, onedealcasestudy.com. If you're watching this right now, we have a special early bird pricing that ends at midnight tonight. If you're watching this replay afterwards, it's going to be $497 instead of $397. Still a ridiculous deal because I'm going to give you your money back after you go through the course and after you implement it. Okay. But let me just show you what this is. It's simplifying things. I'm going to show you how to do one deal. Decrease your cash flow. I'm sorry. I keep on saying that. Increase your cash flow, decrease your overwhelm. Increase your cash flow, decrease your overwhelm. So this is kind of what we're going to be covering over the 6 weeks. An introduction, an overview of lease options, the best marketing strategy for finding sellers. We're going to show you like real deals from beginning to end that you can look at and help you get your mind around it, okay? We're going to show you the best marketing strategy for finding sellers. And I'll just tell you right now, it's Zillow. And we're going to help you find the market. You can scrape Zillow yourself. We're going to give you a company that we recommend that can scrape Zillow for you. We're going to show you one best way to talk to sellers, a simple script that just asks questions. You should be off the phone in 3 to 5 minutes. And then we're going to show you one proposal, one offer that you can send to the seller that does the selling of a lease option for you and explains it for you. You're going to follow up, and we're going to show you how to make one offer, one contract, etc., and the best marketing strategy for tenant buyers. So it's all about how to do one lease option deal. On the third, so we're going to give you a video on Tuesday, give you a homework assignment. You redo it, you report on your results, come back to the Facebook group. We'll answer any questions you have. And on Thursdays, we're going to do live seller calls. We're going to, if you got a lead and they say, yeah, I might do a lease option or whatnot, we will get on the phone and call that seller live on the Thursday coaching calls, which is going to be really cool. Now, we may not get to all of your leads. If a bunch of people are bringing us leads, I don't know how many we'll get. So that's it. Now, one more thing. There is a 30-day unconditional money back guarantee. So if it's on day 29, hour 23, minute 59, if you send an email to support@joemccall.com and say, listen, I don't want this anymore, then this isn't fit for me, I'll give you your money back. I'm also going to do a, well, I already said that. Never mind. So here's a summary again. It's a brand new one deal lease options training. I'm just simplifying everything. Each Tuesday video will be about 30 to 45 minutes long. Group calls on Thursdays. If you can't make them, that's fine. They'll be recorded. You'll have a place where you can submit questions in advance, and I will answer all your questions. There's going to be a private Facebook group where you can get community support and accountability. We're going to do 6 coaching calls. We're going to do live seller calls on Thursdays, and you can potentially partner with me on a deal. I can't guarantee I'm going to partner with you on a deal, but it's got to be a good one. And so if you bring me a deal under contract, I'll personally coach you through that selling process, and we'll split the profits 50-50. I'm not going to do the work for you, but I'll coach you through the process. And then again, the case study completion challenge. You've got 3 months to implement what you learn in the case study, report back on your results, and you'll get all your money back to you. This class starts on Tuesday, January 21. And so we will close the doors when it starts. All right. So I'm going to go through some questions here. I am parched. I actually had 3 coaching calls today and a podcast and this webinar. I've been literally talking all day. My throat hurts. All right. So let's go through the questions. Scott, the answer to your question is yes. It depends. No, it's not a beer. Paul, somebody thought this was a beer. It's Perrier. Perrier. Let me stop. There we go. That's better. Scott, we'll work with you. I think maybe. Depends on how long ago. Okay. Do you need a software to send broadcast SMS text messages? Yes. And we use REI Simple. And yes, your number can get blocked if you do it too much. But, and there is a software that can, no, there's not a software that can switch it up. It's not like you still have to click send, 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 send. It's personalized, and you have to manually send each text. So it's not a robot that sends a ton of them. Yes, Tim, it includes all of the forms and paperwork. Good question from Steven. What happens if you get a seller to agree to buy his or her home for $200,000, and then you agree to sell that property to your tenant buyer for $225,000, and 3 years later, the property only appraises for $215,000? What do you do then? I'd sell the property for $215,000. But first of all, let me explain this. There's not enough spread there. So I wouldn't have offered the seller $200,000 and then sell it for $225,000 on a $200,000 house. I would probably be at $185,000 and sell it for $225,000. So I try to get the seller the same equity they would get if they sold it with a realtor. Does that make sense? How do I handle the option fee? Well, if it's a sandwich lease option, that can go to me, but I prefer to use an escrow company or a title company. So that way, when the tenant buyer is trying to get their financing later on down the road, it doesn't go to Joe Blow investor. Oh, good question from Doug. How do you determine how much to sell the house to your buyer at the end? So let's just say $200,000. The house is worth $200,000 today. I'll probably sell it for $210,000, $215,000. Nothing far outrageous. I want that tenant buyer in 3 years. I want that tenant buyer to have some incentive to want to buy this house. So I'm going to be fair. Sometimes if I get a good enough deal on the front end, so like if I can buy it for $170,000, I might sell it for $200,000, $205,000, in 3 years to that tenant buyer, because I want to give them as much incentive as possible to buy this house from me. I want to help them as much as I can. Yes, Will. Did you say you give the seller and the tenant buyer a different one-page contract and option agreement? Yeah. So I signed one contract with the seller, but when I find the tenant buyer, I sign a separate lease and a separate option with the tenant buyer. Good question, Jolene. So this one deal case study will be about sandwich lease option deals. So if you're in Texas and you can't do sandwich lease options, you'll have to use different paperwork. You'll have to call it something different. And I have the paperwork. I'll just send it to you if you want to sign up. And you'll need to do it like a land contract or a contract for deed or something. So I'll give you that paperwork if you want. Or you can do a lease option assignments. You can do lease option assignments in Texas, no problem. My camera's blurry. Maybe there keeps on. I don't know why. What's going on here? Should I go with an escrow company for the monthly payments? If you can get an escrow payment company to do your monthly payments, yes. You don't have to, though. If it's a lease option assignment, I definitely recommend using an escrow company, but you don't have to. My camera being out of focus is bothering me. Sorry. How do you put bandit signs out if you're in a different area? I find somebody on Craigslist to do it for me. Or I get a local leasing agent, a local realtor to do it for me. If I'm focusing on 3 cities, how will I find escrow companies or attorneys or mortgage companies in each of them? Will you help with suggestions, or is there a nationwide option? It depends. Like, you might be able to find one attorney to do all of your deals in that state and pick 3 different cities in that state. The tenant screening company, credit repair company that I use does it nationwide. They might be able to connect you with a nationwide mortgage broker. I meet mortgage brokers all the time who have, they're licensed in a bunch of different states. And if they're not licensed in your state and if they like you and you're bringing them a lot of business, they'll go get licensed in that state. So you just got to open up, I almost said the white pages or yellow pages. Just get on the phone and start calling escrow companies and networking, and you'll find them. I have one student in Atlanta who had a lease option deal, wanted to find an attorney to help him with it. He just got on the Google and did a search for real estate attorney and called every real estate attorney he could find until he found someone that told him, I can help you with your lease option deals, no problem. He sent her my contracts. The attorney said, these are fine. She just made a few little changes and does all of his deals for him. That's what you need to do. Well, you guys are asking a ton of questions and I only got 5 more minutes. So I'm going to do my best here. But I'm going to be done in 5 minutes. By the way, I'm looking at the questions in the chat. If you're asking questions in the Q&A box, I'm sorry, I'm not getting to those. How do I keep track of sandwich lease option deals? Get an assistant. That's what I do. I have an assistant manager. I don't know how she does it, but she does it. She's got a spreadsheet. She takes care of it. Your tenant screening company is the same as, no. So the tenant screening company does not need to be a licensed residential mortgage loan originator. Can you do lease options with multifamilies? Yes, but you can't sell them to a tenant buyer. You can get a multifamily under a lease option contract with the owner, but you'll need to stay in the middle or sell that contract to another investor. How are the repairs handled in a lease option? In my initial contract with the seller, I tell the seller I'll be responsible for all the repairs under $500 a month in any 30-day period. then when my contract with the tenant buyer, I make them responsible for all the repairs under $500 in any 30-day period. If it's more than that, then the seller's responsible. Now, I usually will try to go get a extended home warranty for the major appliances in the property. But the homeowner has to keep insurance. So if there's a flood or a fire or a tornado or whatever, their homeowner's insurance covers all of that. Okay, so Paul is saying in Jersey, you almost have to go through a foreclosure to get the property back that you give to someone on a lease option. All right, fine. So if you don't want to do lease options in Jersey, you've got 20 other states all around you over there where you could do lease options in. Paul, don't do them in Jersey if you don't want. And you're right. There are some markets where it's harder to do lease options. It's harder to evict tenants. Like some of these cities that are very liberal, you know, I'm not going to get into politics, but you know what I'm talking about. They're so pro tenant, anti landlord, man. I don't want to touch that with a 20-foot pole. And no wonder those areas are going downhill because they're so anti-investor. Anyway, don't get me started on politics. What happens when the tenant buyer stops paying rent? Okay, what happens when the tenant buyer stops paying rent, but they have still the option to buy the property? That is a separate agreement. And that option says if you stop paying the rent, if you break the lease, then this option automatically expires. So if they stop paying the rent, when do you need to evict them? And I usually do a cash for keys thing. But on a sandwich lease option, if they stop paying rent, you still have to pay the rent to the seller. So that's why it's important in that initial option deposit money, you save some of that money, set it aside for those kinds of future expenses. But again, you get them out, you get a new tenant buyer in who puts 5 to 10 grand down, and you know, you can recover that money. And that's the other cool thing about the way I do sandwich lease options. Let's say the deal really goes bad and the market crashes or whatever. You know, whoever you don't like politically gets elected into office and you just decide I want to move to Canada. Well, you can give, in my contracts, I can give the seller a 30-day or 60-day, 60 or 90-day actually, advance notice, and I can back out of the contract. What if the seller wants part of the down payment? You know, on a sandwich lease option, I might give them, you know, $1,000, 1 month's rent. It's not a big deal. But again, who am I getting that money from? I'm getting it from the tenant buyer. So it's all negotiable, right? If the seller's stuck on their price, they're stuck on their rent or whatever, I'll negotiate the down payment I put down. If they're adamant on getting $10,000 down, and I better make sure there's a lot of equity in there and there's a lot of cash flow. And then I'll find a way to get $10,000 to give it to them. Maybe I'll bring on a partner. What happens if the house drops in value? Good question, Dan. You just better be glad you're doing a lease option and you didn't go out and you buy that house subject to, or get a home loan on that property, or borrow private money, or do owner financing. Why? Because on a lease option, that's all it is you have the option. The secret to wealth is to own nothing and control everything. That's what a lease option does. So if it drops in value, walk away. Not a big deal. You've been getting $300 a month in cash flow. The tenant buyer's not going to buy it. You're not going to buy it. Just give it back to the seller. I would actually go back and try to renegotiate. All right. Yes, there are scripts in the course. So in the one deal case study, you're going to get all my good stuff. If there's something that I'm not giving you that you want, just message me in the Facebook group and I'll send it to you. REI Simple is not included. It's extra. It's $97 a month or $197 a month, depending on what level you sign up for. For the phone numbers and the texting, there is a little bit more money. It's $4 per phone number per month. And texting is like 1 or 2 pennies per text. When you compare, like if you were to go out and get, you know, let's say you want to save some money and get Podio as your CRM, you're going to pay money for the Globiflow, for all the third-party integrations to get the texting, to print the stuff, to email the stuff. to do the follow-up. And then you go out and you get websites, you get the digital signing, DocuSign type of stuff. You'll pay just as much money, if not more, by using all these different third-party services than you would if you just keep it all in one platform with REI Simple. So it's a business expense. Everybody needs to have a CRM. And my favorite, and I'm saying this not because I make money, although I do, I'm saying this because it would be what I would use if I had a choice. And I do have a choice. I'm just saying I would use it no matter how much it cost and how much money I made from it. It's an amazing software. I white labeled FreedomSoft, and I customized it with my own lease option contracts, my own letters and scripts, workflow automations, and follow-up and stuff like that. Barbara's asking, so you don't use Podio? We do use Podio in some of our markets where we're working with local wholesalers, and that's only because they already know Podio and they're already familiar with it. We already have momentum there. So I didn't want to rock the boat. So we're still using Podio in some of our markets. We're using REI Simple in our other markets. How do you get $10,000 from the tenant buyer when the house is just, let's say, worth $100,000? So real simple way to get higher option deposit monies. Adjust the rents. So you can tell them, listen, if you put $10,000 down on this property, instead of the rent being $1,500 a month, it'll be $1,400 a month. They're going to get that money back anyway when they buy the house. So they'll save $100 a month in rent if they pay you 10 grand. So you can have your down payment staged. If you want a minimum of 3 grand, start 3%, start there, and then do 5% and 10% maybe, or 7%, and adjust the rents accordingly. That's a great way to get higher option deposits. A lot of people are asking about, how do I get REI Simple? Right now, REI Simple is only available to my students who have my course. So if you want REI Simple, you need to go sign up for the case study or whatever. In the next few months, couple months, I will be making REI Simple available for everybody, but that is coming soon. Right now, it's only available for my students. Is New Jersey not optimal for doing lease option deals? I don't know, Paula. You know, if it's not, then go into another market. You know, anywhere where you can lease a property with an option to buy it in the future, you can do lease options. All right, good. That's it, guys. Again, go to onedealcasestudy.com. Sign up for this thing. It's going to be so much fun. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. It's only $497 $497, and you get your money back after you go through the course and you do the homework and you set it up, et cetera, et cetera. Rebecca, what is LOS? Do you mean SLO? Yeah. So some of you are asking, how is this different than the Simple Lease Options course? The Simple Lease Options course is my main Mac Daddy, the whole enchilada lease options course. Okay. So there's nothing in this new case study that I'm doing that is not in the main Mac Daddy whole enchilada Simple Lease Options course. If you have the Simple Lease Options course, you do not need this case study. All right. This case study is just simplified, and I'm going to give you all your money back. However, remember this too. If you have the Simple Lease Options course, I'm going to put all of these modules into that course when it's done in about 3 months. So you're going to get, the first video will be released. It's going to be a 30 to 45 minute video, will be released on Tuesday, January 21. All of the calls will be recorded. Yes. Is PropStream different from REI Simple? Yes. PropStream is just a data provider to buy lists. It's not a CRM. You can buy lists in REI Simple. The other good thing about PropStream is that you can get real detailed property analysis, like details from the county records in PropStream that you can't get in REI Simple. So they're different. If you had to choose one, definitely REI Simple, because that does your marketing and manages your leads, and you can get lists from it. So Stephen, your question about REI Simple, you just got to log into the membership site, and there'll be a link there for you to sign up. And if you need help with that, send an email to support@joemccall.com. And any of you guys too, if you're having technical problems or questions about this, please send an email to support@joemccall.com. I just put that in the box. Support@joemccall.com, and we'll help you there. And by the way, our emails, like we have 2 full-time people doing just handling support. So when you send an email, we usually are really, really quick in getting back to you. Bobby, listen, pay attention. Send an email to support@joemccall.com and I'll let you in this. I'll let you in this thing. Okay. I'll cut you a good deal, Bobby. Does that make sense? I'm only talking to you, Bobby, not all the rest of you. But Bobby, you just submitted that question. That's a good question. Send an email to support@joemccall.com. Tell them I said to email you and we'll take care of you. Does that make sense, Bobby? All right. Bobby, if you can, just type in the box, thank you. So I know that you heard me just say that. Okay, good. We will have the calls on Thursday. I'm not sure the time yet, but again, it'll be in the afternoon around lunchtime, Central Time. Can you please tell me how much time you expect this to require on a daily, weekly basis? I really need to know. You know, you're going to need, it takes time to, can you hear the rain? It does take time to, get the leads, send the text, call, talk to sellers. I mean, realistically, you need 1 or 2 hours a day at the minimum to spend doing the marketing and talking to sellers and sending offers. Eventually you get to a point where you have a VA, a virtual assistant that sends the marketing for you. You just talk to the seller. You then send your notes to the VA and the VA updates the CRM. But like, if you're just getting started, shoestring budget, like 2 hours a day, minimum. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Jaylene, Nancy. Can you do this calling sellers after 7 p.m.? Yes. In fact, you might find calling sellers after 7 p.m. is a better way to reach more of them. Okay, cool, guys. I am looking forward to working with you guys. This will be fun. I'm excited. I'll see you too, Tori. Nice. I'm tired, so I'm going to go. Appreciate you all very much, guys. We'll see you later. Hey, what'd you think of this webinar too, by the way, before we all hang up? There's still a bunch of you here. What did you all think of this webinar? Please let me know in the comments here. And I'd love to see what you thought. Nice. Appreciate the kind words. We're going to send a replay out. And so some of you all, I'm going to use your quotes for what you thought of the webinar. So people know that it was worth their time. Oh, I know, RJ. I'm sorry. I didn't answer all the questions. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you. Take care.